Now, another unique thing about sharing is what you pour out creates capacity for more.
You must be willing to do the things today others won't do, in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have.
Because it's those moments of feeling discouraged or feeling like you're not good enough that makes you feel like settling is your only option.
Most people don't reach their dream not because of failure. Most people don't live their dream because they give up. You see, it's not the failure that stops us, but that most stop at their first failure. Those who succeed don't stop at one failure. They don't stop at 10 failures. They don't stop at 100 or 1,000 or 1,000,000. They say, this is my goal, and I will do whatever it takes to achieve it. I will learn the lessons from any failures. I will learn faster. I will work harder. I will work smarter. And I will not quit until my dream is a reality. That's the difference between success and failure. Failure is a massive part of being able to be successful. You have to get comfortable with failure. You have to actually seek failure. Failure is where all of the lessons are, you know. When you go to the gym, you work out, you're actually seeking failure.
So if you pour out what you know, if you pour out what you feel, if you let go in a sharing way, the good things that have come your way, it's part of the skill in the marketplace of developing success, wealth, and value. And I would wish that for you. In fact, all of the things we've talked about today, I would wish for you the benefit that comes from it all. But I know that it takes the discipline first. One last phrase. Promise is on the other side of price. For the promise, you must always pay the price. I'm sure we've all watched the television show Fame.
That's why the book of life said the road to life is straight and narrow, and few there be that find it, because few there be that are willing to do the things today others won't do, in order to have the things tomorrow others won't have. What are the things that others won't do? Number one, make discipline a major force in your life. How many of you know if you'd have been more disciplined, you'd be further along to reach your goals right now? Socrates said the undisciplined life is an insane life. The road to life is straight and narrow because few there be that are willing to discipline themselves. Here's something else that most people won't do. Make it okay to fail. A lot of people, 85% of people, allow their fear of failure to outweigh their desire to succeed.
Where the teacher says, here's where you start to pay. If you want the glory of the stage, and not just the glory of the stage, but a glory of a unique family, if you want the glory and the recognition of a unique enterprise, if you want the glory of a job well done, you got to pay up front. And this is part of the pay. But once you get a taste of value, you don't mind paying the discipline. So I want to thank you today for letting me come by and have a chance to visit with you. And I wish for you all these good things that come from paying the price. The next time we get together, I'm sure we'll be able to trade some stories about the value we've gotten from sharing with each other today. Thank you for inviting me. See you next time.
Develop the ability to share. Pass along to someone else. If you picked up a good idea today, pass it along. Don't let it stay. Pass it along.
Repeat after me, please. Anything that's worth doing is worth doing badly. Yeah, see, anything is worth doing right, as we have been taught, if you know how to do it. But if you don't know how to do it, it's worth doing badly until you get it right. I bet you, and I wasn't there, I bet you that when Bishop T.D. Jakes first stood up to preach, when he gave his trial sermon, he did not have the command, he did not have the mastery, he did not have the confidence, he did not have the depth, he did not have the capacity to translate and milk scripture like he did last night when he first started out. Now write this down. You don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to be great.
You want to take your muscles to the point where you get to failure because that's where the adaptation is, that's where growth is. Successful people fail a lot, they fail a whole lot more than they succeed. They extract the lessons from the failure and they use the energy and they use the wisdom to come around to the next phase of success. Gotta take a shot, you have to live at the edge of your capabilities, you've gotta live where you're almost certain you're gonna fail. The reason for practice. Practice is controlled failure, getting to your limit, getting to your limit, getting to your limit. You can't lift that, you can't do that until you get to the point that all of a sudden your body makes the adjustment. And then you can do it. Failure actually helps you to recognize the areas where you need to evolve. So fail early, fail often, fail forward. Failure makes winners stronger, failure makes winners hungrier. But it makes most give up, it makes most feel worthless.
Talk to your grandfather. Grab an older person. Just hear them talk. And the only thing that pains them is not failure. It's not disappointment. It's regret. And when I talk about never settling, I'm not talking about your food. I'm not talking about your hotel. I'm not talking about anything tangible. I'm talking about your life. I'm talking about your dreams. Don't give up, man. I want you committed to the goal, because sometimes the strategy didn't work. That doesn't mean the goal is not attainable.
Don't ever fear starting over.
You need to change your strategy, not give up on the goal. The goal is still the goal. Let's redirect, let's refocus, let's regroup, let's retool. Let's try another way, but don't give up on your goal. Are you hearing what I'm telling you? I didn't wait for the world to say I was one. I told myself I was one. And once I told myself I was one, everything around me started to support what I was saying. So victory, all right? Hope. You have to believe it when you cannot see it. You have to speak it when it's not serious. You have to speak it and say it's so that it can become a reality. What's it worth to you? Because if you can speak it, if you can say it, you're going to eventually get to it. Are you hearing what I'm saying? If you can speak it, if you can say it, you're going to eventually get to it. All right, listen to me very closely. My last one. You got to get this one in your spirit. You have to take residence with it. All right, you got to take residence. You can't be playing with it. You can't, 1 minute you're doing it, the next minute you're not. 1 month you're doing it, the next minute you're not. We're not talking about consistency right now. We talked about consistency before. We're not talking about consistency right now. I'm talking about residence. You got to surrender to that thing.
Winners don't enjoy failure, but they would never let failure stop them. Next time you encounter failure, you've got to remember every great thing on this planet is here, because the Creator learned what did work, but learned more from what did not work. When we are kids, we don't stop at failure when we first learn to ride a bike. It's failure after failure. We get knocked down time after time, but we get up and push forward. And so we'll achieve our goal of riding the bike. But then we get old and most of us get weak. We are too soft to get back on the bike. We come up with excuses. It must not be for me. No, you just soft, no, you just lazy. Tell yourself the truth, get back on the bike, learn why you failed. And make sure you don't fall again, make sure you are stronger for having the lesson. You know, it's always a little bit frustrating to me when people have a negative relationship with failure. Fail early, fail often, fail forward.
Don't ever commit to the strategy more than the result. When you settle, you ruin the movie. Yeah, you heard me. Your life is a movie and you are the author. Your life is a movie and you are the director. Life is a movie and you need to edit some scenes out. The pen is in your hand, my friend, and you're writing your very own personal movie. And I believe the good guy wins in the end. I believe the good woman wins in the end. I believe that you will win in the end as long as you don't settle. When you settle, you ruin the finale. When you settle, you ruin the final scene. We are all tuned into your movie.
So I'm going to give you an example, right? I'm in stats class, and I'm trying to become a statistician. I'm trying to take my game to a whole other level, right? So I'm in stats class the other day. This is my final class, and my man is talking. I'm trying to work the problem out, right? And we're talking about the mean, right? The standard deviation, right? He's giving us the formula. You add this to this, once you add this to this, you divide this by 2. He's breaking the whole thing down. And then he does it in the adverse, and I'm lost. Right? But then he finally breaks it down so I can understand. And I go after class saying, look, you gotta take me, you gotta start all over again. You gotta hear what I'm saying. I want to be possessed by it. I wanted to take residence. I gotta surrender to it. I gotta put my whole stuff in. I don't just want the answers. Because if I just get the answers, I gotta keep coming to you to get the answers. I want to see the big picture. I want to understand it. I want stats to come out of my mouth. I want to possess it. I want stats to be who I am. I want to be in the next 2 or 3 years a statistician.
You're here right now at this moment because tomorrow you want to be somebody greater than the person you are today. You see yourself succeeding, you have a vision, you have a dream, congratulations, you're already 10 steps ahead of 95% of the world. Imagine if Michael Jordan was scared of missing, he would have never taken a shot. Imagine if Steve Jobs was afraid of people not liking his product, there would be no iPhone. So ask yourself this, do you want to be a person who fears failure, or do you want to be a person who loves success? Which one? You have to pick today, and I'll tell you one thing. One is a failure and one is a success. And if you love success, there is nothing that can stop you. All those negative things people say will mean nothing. They're going to talk about how only 1% make it to the top. Big deal. Want to know something else? Only 1% stick with that fitness program long enough to see results.
Because if you're holding on to things, if you're holding on to excuses, if you're holding on to fear, then there's no faith. Whether you win, whether you lose, don't give up. If you lose, lose. Humble yourself, work harder, and go again. Competition, that's life. Doesn't matter what you got going on. If you're in sports, doesn't matter. Somebody out there is a little bit hungrier than you are, then you got to get a little bit hungrier than them. If something out there that is chasing you and trying to destroy you and bring you down and trying to take everything from you, you got to be greater than the things that is trying to take you out.
And as soon as you realize it's going to be a dogfight. Okay, so let me just say this to you. So in America, right, and I'm sure it's the same thing here, but they're in our armed forces. Let's just pick one, the Navy, for instance. We just pick the Navy, right? But let me tell you guys, this is good. Listen to me very closely. The first thing they teach you, somebody over here, help me out. You are in the Navy, right? They're teaching you war. Right? What's the first thing they teach you? Boot camp. The very first, somebody jump over here. Just take a wild guess. What's the first thing they teach soldiers? Good, courage. Okay, this side. Discipline. So give me something practical. What's the first practical thing that they would teach you? Say it again. Defending yourself. Somebody over here. How to swim. Listen to me very closely. The first thing they teach you, the very first thing they teach you, is how to respond when you have a jam gun. And number two, how to carry a dead body. That's the first thing they teach you. They don't teach you how to defend yourself. They don't teach you how to swim. The first thing they teach you is when your gun is jammed. The first thing they teach you is a dead body, how to carry a dead body.
This is your time right now. And it's only a short time. You got a short window. Don't let that window close. Get through it and go after it. Believe in it and understand it, because it's yours. If you're going to lose, make sure you do it the right way. Quitting is easy. Anybody can do it. If you fail, learn from it and build on it. But don't you give up. Fight, push, dig, and go after it. And make the most of your life. Stand tall and believe in it and work at it each and every day of your life. Let the challenges come. Do whatever you got to do and keep it moving.
And somebody tell me, why would they start you there? That's the worst case scenario. That's what you're not prepared for. That's what you're not thinking. You're not thinking when you go out there to defend yourself that your gun is going to jam. You're not thinking when you go out there that your boy going to get killed and you got to drag. You're not thinking that. So listen to me. It's not hardships that hurt us. It's not my cousin getting shot twice. It's not my cousin spending 50 years in jail. It's not my aunt dying of cancer. It's not my wife being diagnosed with 7 lesions on her brain that will break you. What will break most people is you didn't prepare for that. So when you put all your little goals and all your little dreams together, it's not the thing that broke you. It was you never even thought about the fact that you could be broken. You never prepared.
So, again, I'm sorry, I should make that more clearly, and I'm trying to make it more clearly now. And like my parents are good people. They had successful careers as educators in public schools. And my mom eventually went into school administration. My dad taught in high school for 30-something years, and they were good, hardworking people. And but I'll tell you, they were no extraordinary preachers of discipline. And I'll tell you, I never remember either one of them ever using the term or referring to discipline in any way. And actually both my parents worked. They both worked a lot.
You never prepare for worst case scenario. And the reason why ET is standing here, because I'm prepared for it. If you know anything about me, I still lay on floors. I still eat chips off the floor. I still do some stuff that to most people is crazy, like ET, why would you do that? Because I'm always prepared that we may not live in that house one day. One day something might happen and we might have to go back to that. And if I have to go back to that, it's not gonna break me. So I present to you a diamond. Most women love them. And most men spend a lot of money on them. I'm gonna say it again. Most women love them. And most guys have to work a long time to be able to get a nice one. The thing we covet the most, for a diamond to be produced, it must first go through extreme heat. Extreme heat. Extreme pressure. Are you hearing what I'm telling you? For a diamond to be produced, it has to go through extreme pressure, extreme heat. And if that wasn't enough, what makes a diamond is the cut. So you are put through, if you want to be a diamond, you must go through extreme pressure. If you can't take pressure, then you're not a diamond.
But when you have a bigger purpose to why you're doing what you're doing, and you want to honor the sacrifices that others have made for you, it's nothing for you to keep going when you hit adversity. If every decision and choice you make is just about you, at a certain point you're going to hit something that's a lot tougher than you, that's going to make you quit because you don't have a driving force for why you do what you do. But when I got up to the University of Tennessee, it was simple. It was simple for me to give everything I had. My freshman year, I played special teams. My sophomore season, I broke the starting lineup, had a really strong sophomore season. The summer heading into my junior year, I still remember the day where I was sitting in our film room. I was watching film on the California Bears. My defensive backs coach, Larry Slade, came in the room. He said, "Inky, I got some good news for you." I dropped the clicker. I said, "What is it?" He said, "Man, you're projected top 30 draft pick, son." He said, "All you have to do is play the next 10 football games. You're an automatic multimillionaire."
My dad was coaching sports and we're doing after school stuff. My mom, same thing. Like, we were on our own a bunch. My parents were gone in the morning. We got ourselves to school. When we got home in the afternoon, they weren't home. So it wasn't like they were setting up this rigid, disciplined manner for me, right? Yeah. And you can see this with families, many, many different families. There's families that have kids that the parents are very disciplined and the kids are wild and out of control. Sometimes it problematically so, right? Kids that come from really good families, but they get addicted to drugs, lack of discipline. Kids that come from really good families, but they spin out of control and go in the wrong direction. And there's also the opposite, which is, hey, the parents weren't around, or the parents were abusive, or the parents were drug addicts, and all of a sudden the kid comes out of that and is squared away, is awesome. And we saw that all the time in the SEAL teams. And I've said that before on this program. It doesn't matter where your background is. It's what you decide to do.
Yeah. I went out of the room. I called my mother and my grandmother on the three-way. I said, after this season, there will be no more struggle. I said, we would never miss another meal. I said, we would never experience another Christmas where we have to stand on the side of the curb and just be grateful. And I hung it up. First football game, I went out, played great, got an interception, shut Cal down. Second game, we're playing against Air Force, got late in the game, fourth quarter, guy dropped back, he threw the ball to a receiver coming out my sideline. Me and the guy, we went head on. As soon as I hit the guy, I felt as if every breath in my body left. Body went completely limp, fell to the ground, I blacked out. Never happened to me. When my eyes open, I'll never forget, my teammates ran over, they said, "Hey, get up, let's go." I said, "I can't. I can't move." I said, "What do you mean you can't move? You're our lockdown corner, man. We need you. Let's go." I said, "I know, man, but this time I can't move." I flipped my head up to the sky and said, "God," I said, "surely nothing has happened in this moment that can alter my life." They got me over to the hospital. They took me back. They ran CAT scans. They brought me back into my room. And all in a 15-second time frame, the doctor came running in from the opposite side. He said, "Hey, get in there. We got to rush this guy back to emergency surgery. He's about to die."
The crowd represents broken dreams, things that didn't work out, thoughts telling you it's never going to get better, you'll never get well, never break the addiction. The crowd can be negative words people have spoken over us. You're not that talented. You can't accomplish your dreams. If you're going to reach your potential, you have to fight through some things. You can't have a weak, give up, this is too hard spirit. You have to be more determined than what's trying to stop you. You may get knocked down, but you have to get back up again.
Run! Move! You don't need this long plan. You just gotta move. You know, we're living in a society where nobody moves anymore.
The chronic excuse maker. How do you stop making excuses? This is actually pretty simple. And I said it the other day, and you have to realize, you have to know, you have to accept that all your excuses are lies. They are lies, all of them. Think about the things that you tell yourself, the lies you use to rationalize taking the easy road. Taking the easy road and leaving discipline behind. Think about them. You don't have time. That's a lie. You don't have support. That's a lie. You don't have the equipment or the gear. Lies. You don't know the best way. Who cares? That's a lie. Or you're too old, or you're too young. Of course you're too old or too young. Lie. And there's, you're too busy. Sure you are. That's a lie. And you're too tired, or you're too sore, or you're just plain not feeling it. Lies, lies, lies. And the list goes on and on and on. And it doesn't stop if you don't make it stop.
I don't have time to wait for things to get better, to go forward. I don't have time for them to change the policy for me to go forward. I don't have time for the economy to come back for me to go forward. I don't have time for the stock market to come up before I go forward. I don't have time to wait on them to rebuild buildings for me to get a job. I don't have time!
When people laugh at your visions and ideas, it's only because they don't have their own visions and ideas around what they're supposed to do with their life or their careers. People that don't have any dreams for themselves, they tend to be dream killers. People that don't have their own visions, they become vision killers. They want nothing more than to talk you out of your own visions. They don't have dreams for themselves. They don't have any hopes. They're hopeless. They're uninspired, unmotivated. They have no dreams. They have nothing they're ambitious about. But I want to remind you to continue to dream and dream big.
When you're going through basic SEAL training, the instructors are going to talk to you, and they're going to lie to you. They're going to tell you that it's going to get colder. They're going to tell you that the evolution isn't going to end. They're going to tell you that you're too weak. They're going to tell you that the teams isn't worth it. They're going to tell you that you're too big, you're too small, you're too short, you're too tall. They're going to tell you things to try and get you to quit. And they're lying to you. But you know what else they're teaching you? They're teaching you not to listen. You hear all kinds of negative stuff out there. You're going to hear it from other people. You're going to hear it in your own head. Don't listen to it. They're lying.
Life is always giving you a test. Trying to give you a way out. Trying to give you an excuse not to show up. You gotta have the mentality to show up every day of your life. No matter what life throws at you, it's our responsibility to show up to the Coliseum of life. Prepare for battle. I don't care what you're going through, what life's throwing at you. It's your responsibility to find your new 100%.
Bounce back. You can get through this. You can get over it. It's not about excuses. We all have them. Stop making excuses and make the adjustment, because you can have what you want, do what you want, be what you want, but you cannot do it if you're coming up with all these reasons why. You should be doing better in your life. I don't care nothing about a recession. I don't care about what's going on around you. It's what goes on in you that counts. It's what you think about you and not what others think.
Don't slow down. Don't get filled up with success. Don't be so quick to pat yourself on the back and think you've arrived.
Everything you've been dreaming about, everything you've been wanting in life, it's right there. It's right there. You got an opportunity, right? But in order for you to get it, it's blood, it's sweat, it's tears. You gotta want it as bad as you want to breathe. So I'm not in your life, so I don't know what that looks like for you. I don't know what it looks like to want it as bad as you want to breathe. I don't know what time you gotta get up. I don't know what time you gotta go to bed. I'm not 100% sure. But what I'm telling you is, you gotta want it as bad as you want to breathe. And you can't just talk about it, right? You gotta make it happen.
Can you be as hungry and as thirsty when you didn't have anything to drink? When you were starving in your life? When you get to a place that's higher and still be that hungry, still hate it? Because if you don't hate it, you'll eventually tolerate it. You'll essentially start patting yourself on the back instead of going for the max. Maxing out means this: you're just as hungry on the last rep as you were the first rep. Can you be that hungry, then you can max out your life.
Let me give you a good philosophical phrase. All values must be won by contest. All values must be won by contest. And after they've been won, they must be defended. You say, wow, you've put a pretty heavy task on us. That's what life is all about, a pretty heavy challenge. We don't give large trophies for small effort. If you want to win high health, if you want to win high wealth, if you want to extend a long reach in touching people's lives, you got to engage in some of these extra powerful disciplines. And one is to secure the territory by vigor, and the other is to defend it with equal challenge. Attack. Procrastination. Here's another good one: blame. I engaged in this the big share of my life until I met Mr. Show. I used to blame my negative relatives. I used to blame the government. I used to blame taxes. I used to blame prices. I said, it costs too much. Schultz said, no, let's cover the real problem. You can't afford it. I never looked at it like that before. Schultz said, sir, you must intellectually understand, it's not it that's your problem. It's you that's your problem. It's not out there that's the problem. Out there is like it's been for 6,000 years. You can't cure that. But what you can cure is errors in judgment, errors in attitude, errors in activity, errors in judging results. I found that the errors were within. But see, he had to go after me on that point. Here's the next one: excuses. Wow, we've got a million. I'm too short, I'm too tall. I'm too old, I'm too young. I don't have the money, I don't have the experience. On and on and on with the excuses. Learning to attack. Very important. Procrastination. That's a good one, front and center. We've got to attack procrastination because it's so insidious. It eats up such large chunks of your life and leaves you in a small corner. Putting it off. Delaying, letting it slide. Now, I'm one of the best to attack procrastination because I confess to being one of the all-time great procrastinators. I've done a lot of things, but I've put a lot of things off. Procrastination. I am so good, I could teach it, but I also know the pain of procrastination. I also know the regret that comes from procrastination. I can also show you pieces of my life missing, never to be repaired. because I let it slide. Now see, if we all studied our own lives, and we're trying to help somebody with this insidious disease of procrastination and putting it off, front and center, we use ourselves as best example, because you feel the strongest about your own experiences and your own emotions. Do you think you could help somebody with procrastination? Developing this skill of going back, rehearsing your own life, and coming up with the essence of the emotion and the experience to try to illustrate to somebody how insidious it can become and how devastating it can leave your life and what'll be missing if you let it slide. That's what we call learning to attack the problem. Now, underline the word attack. It's very important to go after the insidious.
The fact of the matter is that the reason discipline is hard to maintain is because it is hard to maintain. That's what makes discipline hard. It's hard.
I've never met a person who was not successful that didn't have a great amount of self-discipline within their life. Self-discipline and being able to perform and being able to keep your life on schedule and being able to keep commitments and promises and meet deadlines is essential to success.
The thing about self-discipline is that it is necessary for everything you do in your life. You have to be self-disciplined.
Unfortunately, just as human as everyone else. And it is work to maintain the discipline. That's what it is, work. Holding the line, maintaining the standard, giving no slack, none. That's the discipline. That's the discipline, and it is hard.
And most people will not be successful. They will not reach whatever they wrote because when there's not anything emotionally attached to it, they're going to quit and give up. Most people were closer than they ever thought they were to finishing that big thing, but they never finished it because they didn't feel like finishing it. Or they were doing it and it was pain. And most people quit in the pain because the pain hurts so bad that they don't know if they want to keep going to get to go. Because you're going to wake up most days and not feel like it. You're going to wake up most days and not be pumped up. You're going to wake up most days and not feel like doing it. But when you can get to a point that you do it anyway, then there's no way you won't reach any of your goals.
I think pushing yourself physically is the number one factor of life. That is the true spot where you can really dive deep into. Life's about self-discipline. It is about self-discipline. We tend to do the things that are easy. And that is it builds no mental toughness. It builds no mental hardening. It builds nothing. When you work out, working out is where you can build that the fastest. Because it's a constant, it gives you instant feedback. Yeah, you may not lose the weight you want to real fast, but the discipline it takes, it transfers over to all aspects of your life. It's not people, man, why are you always working out? Stop looking at it that way. This is the foundation of life. When you look in the mirror, every morning we all look in the mirror to get ready to go to work, to go anywhere. The first thing you see is your reflection. If you don't like what you see in the morning, you lost the war already. It's not about even liking what you see. It's about looking in the mirror and you may start, man, I feel different.
So I'll hear people say, if you believe it, then you can achieve it. And the problem with that is they're leaving out the most important part of the equation. And that part is work, action, actually doing something. That's what you have to do to achieve anything. Yeah, you gotta believe it, but you better get the work done.
It's real simple. If you don't work out, you don't get a muscle, right? I always tell people there's a daily practice like priming. If you don't do that, if you get up and you just have no discipline whatsoever, you get no value of anything. Diets don't work when you don't do them. Exercise doesn't work when you don't do them. But most of the people have some experiences that they want to shift. And once you shift those things, your whole life changes.
There's things that you know you're supposed to do as a human being, things that you know are going to improve your life. Do those things. There's things that you know are going to make you a worse person and make your life worse. Don't do those things. Get up early, do some kind of workout, eat good foods, clean your room, make a list of things that you're supposed to do in your life, and then wake up in the morning and do those things. And no, it is not easy. But you're not going to get it from anyone else but you. You think things are going to just go your way? Well, they're not going to just go your way. You got to make them go your way. You think things are going to just happen for you? Well, they're not just going to happen for you. You got to make them happen.
It's all mental, and people don't get it. Everybody wants to say, okay, well, here go 10 steps to, okay, Lewis said do 8, E.T. said do 9. This person says this is 12 steps, and everybody's trying to get the steps without the mentality. It's like, okay, maybe you don't need all 9, or maybe you don't need all 8. Maybe you need 4, maybe you need 12. I don't know. But I think sometimes they see what we do and say, if I can duplicate that, just like exactly how he's done in the book, exactly how, and it's like, yo, you have a story. You have a unique experience. And so your 12 are shaped by not just your world, but how your world has shaped your thinking. And I think that's the part that mission is like, guys, if it was easy, everybody could do it. If it was a cookie cutter, everybody would just follow it to the T. But there's a mindset. And when I looked at Serena, when I look at the Michael Jordans of the world, Tom Brady, when you look at Michael Phelps, like it is a mentality. On our new album, The Resolution, I talk about, I got that dog. And I'm not really referring to just this, aggressiveness, but it is a mindset. I saw Belichick said something where, they were like, how you feeling about the Super Bowl? He's like, I'm gonna be honest with you, we're 5 weeks behind. You know what I'm saying? He's like, everybody else
for next year.
Everybody else is practicing, training. They lost, and so they're trying to get ready. They're lifting weights. They're reading books. They're, everybody that lost is studying. He's like, what type of mind says we're 5 weeks behind in terms of the Super Bowl? Right, the day after the Super Bowl. So, but again, it's a mentality, and I think a lot of people are missing that mentality.
And there's a lot of folks that live life on a cushy cloud of marshmallows and bullshit, and then one day something goes wrong. And I mean, that's why spoiled kids are so sad. Like a spoiled young boy is one of the saddest things ever. A young boy that becomes a man and can't take care of himself, and his dad has to keep on rescuing him. His dad has to keep on bailing him out of situations and giving him money. I've met guys like that, and that is a crippling affliction when they don't have the character themselves to be able to get by in life. They constantly need someone to help them and bail them out. Even as a grown man, I've met guys in their 40s that still need help from their parents. I'm like, what the man? You're never gonna get it right, because somewhere along the line they didn't face enough of the adversity to realize that there's sometimes you just gotta get up and get shit done. There's sometimes where you have to pull yourself up and you have to push forward even if you want to stay in bed. And if you don't do that, you just keep calling on your daddy and your daddy keeps rescuing you, you never develop those tools. You never develop that ability to recognize what you're doing wrong with your life. Because you're soft, you got a cushiony, you got a safety net for your safety net.
Make every day your masterpiece. The secret of your success, the secret of my success, is determined by what we do daily.
Everyone seems to think that this world, this government, somebody owes them something. Nobody owes you shit. If you want something, go out there and get it. Go out there and fucking take it. That's all there is to it. You need to stop this whining, this crying all the damn time, and get up and do something about it. And the biggest thing I see getting in the way is your fucking feelings. Your feelings. Where there's a will, there's a way. When you've got air in your lungs, then you have no excuse. It's just a matter of perspective. You're either gonna be a fucking sheep, or you're gonna be a lion. You're gonna be an attacker and a go-getter. But if you want to sit there and cry and moan and whine all the fucking time, well, you can't, then you sit your ass on that bench with the losers, and you stay there. But don't expect me to turn around and pat you on the back and say, hey, good job for being a fucking quitter. Get up and do something about it.
People who win fucking do shit, and people who lose talk shit. You can win if you choose to learn the things that you need to do and then can do them. That's reality. That's the nobody wants to admit, because admitting so means that you have to take responsibility for where you are currently. And you have to say, I am where I am currently because I didn't do X, Y, and Z. And guess what? That fucking hurts a little bit. But once you accept that truth, you are able to then move forward with the actions required to get you to where you want to go.
Discipline your body. Free your mind. Get up early and go. Get after it, and you'll become the person you want to be. And you become that person through one small decision at a time. And if there's one thing I would say that does make it easier, it's to envision what it feels like when you're done. What it feels like after you've worked out, or you've held the line on your food intake, or you've pushed through some monotonous project that you have to do. And all those things, when they're done, they feel good. Contrary to that, envision what you will feel like later when you let the discipline slack. You know the feeling weak and defeated, and you know that you're falling behind. So get to know those two different types of feelings and ask yourself which one you want to feel in 10 minutes or in a half an hour.
You know, we kind of have this idea that while you're free as a child, and then you have a certain delightful, wonderful, positive freedom as a child, and then that's given up as you approach adulthood. But the truth of the matter is that you have a lot of potential as a child, but none of that is capable of manifesting itself as freedom before you become disciplined. And discipline is a matter of the imposition of order, and the order is necessary, especially for people who are hopeless and nihilistic. And lots of people are hopeless and nihilistic, way more people than you think. And part of that is because no one's ever really encouraged them. And so the book is in part a matter of encouragement. It's like, lay a disciplinary structure on yourself, get the chaos in check, and then you can move towards a state that's freer, because it's discipline first. Like, look, if you're going to become a concert pianist, there's going to be several thousand hours of extraordinarily disciplined practice. That's the imposition of order on your potential, let's say. But what comes out of that is a much grander freedom. And so in virtually every freedom that you have in life that's true freedom is purchased at the price of discipline.
When the thing is done, when the discipline has been implemented, remember what that feels like, and then remember that those minutes and those hours, they turn into weeks and months and years, and holding the line in those critical minutes will put you in an infinitely better place, physically and mentally, if you maintain the discipline. So work through the weakness, fight through the temptation, hold the line. Hold the line, maintain the discipline. It is not easy, but it is worth it, because discipline equals freedom.
When I was growing up, I was being bullied and all kind of shit. My grandfather looked at me and he said, you know what, man, you're not gonna amount to shit because of how you hang your head. That's all he said. And as true and as real as it was, it hurt. And a lot of us, what we do is we hide from the truth. We don't want to tell people the truth. We see people every day, loved ones, friends, family members. We see them walking around. Everybody sees them. And they're not amounting to shit. They're fucking gaining weight. They're not going to school. We live in a kinder, gentler world. So we don't say shit to them. We just watch them fail because why? We don't know what to say or how to say it. Or we may lose them as friends, or they may not love us anymore. You're watching someone fail. The best thing you may ever do for someone is say, hey, guess what, brother? You're a piece of shit right now. You may not say it just that way, but that's what you may want to say to somebody. Look, man, I love you to death, brother, but your life sucks. You're not, you are so much better than this, man. You are so much better. I'm watching you fail and I can't do it. So the best advice I ever got was a negative comment from my grandfather. He said, hey, you ain't gonna amount to shit.
Yeah.
And he didn't mean it in like a mean way. He meant it as honestly. You're allowing this world to kick your fucking ass. And it's going to if you keep on letting it do it. And it stuck with me. It stuck with me for a long time. It takes me today.
But most of them are that way for one big reason. They can't see themselves doing it. They can't see themselves doing it. It's one big reason. The other reason is, a lot of it is jealousy. When you set these humongous fucking goals, and they see that you're getting at it. Let's say, for instance, we have a family. Let's say we're all a big family here. All three of us, all four of us in a big family. And every fucking morning I'm getting up training for a 200-mile run. And you see me get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, and all you fuckers are sleeping. And by the time I get done running my 30, I come home just getting up. How are you gonna feel about yourself? A lot of times when you're an overachiever and you have people, that's what I talk about the mediocrity thing. A lot of our family members, a lot of our friends, they're mediocre. There's always those couple of guys who are uncommon, who want to be better. But you make that mediocre motherfucker feel like shit. Whether it's your mom, your dad, whoever. You make him feel horrible. I've been there. I'm speaking from experience. You get somebody around you, man, who's trying to be better, and you don't have the drive that they have, it's a constant reminder of how fucked up you are. You have to know that that's what it is. Anybody in your course not saying, man, get after it, brother, I'm so proud of you. They have a problem with themselves. Because all you're trying to do is achieve more. If that's a problem for somebody, you have to look at them and say, man, you really have a fucking problem with yourself, huh? It's much deeper than what you think. It lies deep in your soul. How I was able to fix myself was I saw how ugly I was towards other people who were great. I was able to look back and say, man, you don't hate that motherfucker for any reason because he's great. And you're lazy. You're lazy. He makes you feel like shit every single day. That's where it comes from. You have to know where shit comes from to be able to solve it.